you can come on board and I'll say a word about you. Ladies first, Ilau Vil, the CEO of White Smoke, Tal Schwartz, the CEO of ClickTail, Alon Carmeli, the CEO of Babylon, Guy Nir-Paz, the CEO of Totango, and Ariel Finkelstein, the CEO of Compile. It's truly a pleasure to have you all here. You may not know that, but we manually handpicked you because you represent a very, very nice mix of online vendors. Like, some of them are B2Bs, some of them are B2C, some of them are pure vendors, some of them are service providers dealing specifically with conversion optimization. That's the whole session. And I'll join you in a minute. I want to show you just 2 slides back from the presentation that Simon did this morning to emphasize 2 slides, and I'll run with the session. I want to tell you about a company which is a bit sad today because they just stole her computer, a company called Securitel. They sell access to Facebook from China. That's the whole idea. And in order to maximize their conversion rate optimization, in order to maximize their sales, we took their checkout and reduced it to the minimum fields required to run the processing. And you may think that only typing a few fields wouldn't do much in terms of conversion, but on their example, it's actually converted 30% higher than the long form on the left. So when you create your checkout, make sure to collect only the information that you really need in order to process the deal. And I know there's a tricky side, there's a downside to it, because when you collect less information, then the chances of orders to be fraudulent are bigger. But in the trade-off of collecting less information and converting more, you should surely check it out. The other example is not for first-time buyers. It's for actually returning shoppers. And it's again to create a frictionless experience when customers come again to your checkout. And what we did for them is actually enable them to, like, we gave them a widget that enables their customers to pay again via stored credit card. And actually this made them to convert 25% more in their returning sales. So this is about 1 hour translations. I didn't mention the company, which is also an amazing company if you need translation services, human translation services, because we have some automated ones here. So I'm talking about real human beings that are translating your websites, whatever. So that's it. That's my part. Just so you remember those examples. And I'm heading off to my panel. Where do I don't have a seat? I'll stand, whatever. This way you'll see that I'm reading from script. Okay. Sorry for that. Thanks. So, I told my wife like a half a year ago that I'm going to run a monetization summit, and she said, listen, Eldad, nobody knows what monetization is. And I said, you don't know, like everybody in my industry know what monetization is, and I'm sure you all do. But I want to focus here, like in the next 45 minutes, on pure monetization tips. Okay, we had a very inspiring panel just about now, but these guys, I expect them more. I expect them to be more edgy. I don't expect them to lean back on their sofas. I want them to really give us practical tips on how they convert better, how do they bring customers, how do they price their services. We need to come out from this tunnel with true, valid tips for everybody. So keep in mind, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to tell you, stop selling us cliches. Give us the details, the ones that you're dealing and talking in your internal sessions. And so give us, like, in one sentence, please be short, who you are, what your company do, and your current business model. Shoot.
Okay, my name is Ariel Finkelstein.
Do you hear me? No.
Okay, my name is Ariel Finkelstein. I'm the CEO of Compal. We're a feedback solution company. We opened up 4.5 years ago. Today we have over 60,000 customers around the world. We're a SaaS company. We started in a freemium model, afterwards moved into inside SMB sales, and today we're supporting 2 different go-to-markets, inside SMB sales and inside enterprise sales.
How many employees do you have?
30.
All in Israel?
Yeah, I really believe that a SaaS company should be doing it from Israel.
Applause.
Thank you very much. The model which we'll talk about in SaaS is very much built on the ability to do everything swiftly, easily, and cheap, both for the customers, but also for us. One of the things in a SaaS company in the States, you'll tell them, listen, you open up a SaaS company right in the States. When you get to the $2 million CMRR, then start looking abroad. Same thing we should be doing here in Israel. I can tell you that we're closing very large deals out there, not only the SMB, but which is much more easier, and of course selling automatic in the B2C field, but selling also into the mid-level, into the enterprise level that everyone was telling us, listen, no chance, nobody's going to close a deal with you. That's wrong. The main problem, which is still a very, very strong problem in Israel that nobody's talking about, is human infrastructure. We have a lot of developers here, but we do not have the kind of people we need in order to grow a SaaS industry here in Israel. And that's one of our main challenges today, not with regards to salespeople, that it's almost impossible to find good salespeople for inside SMB and inside enterprise, which is inside enterprise is much harder even. But also with regards to inbound marketing guys and also with product guys, which we can talk about a little bit more.
Okay, you warned me that you're talking a lot, so I'll cut you off next time. But this was a long sentence. In one sentence, guys, what do you do? And a bit about your company size and figures.
I'm running Babylon since end of 97. Babylon is 160 people in Or Yehuda. All our employees are in Israel as well.
You just broke the Guinness record, right?
We just broke Guinness record for 100 million downloads of Babylon last summer. We are publicly traded, so our figures are publicly available, but we will cross the 200 million shekels in revenues this year, few tens of millions of shekels in profit, growing, almost doubling year over year, at least for the last 4 years. Business model is a mix today between subscription, which is selling of services, software, etc., and advertisement revenues mainly coming from search. I'll be happy to elaborate more.
Yeah, I will. I will ask you, I'm sure.
Hi, my name is Hila.
Is she on?
My name is Hila.
Wait.
Can you hear me?
I don't hear you.
No? So I'll use Alon's.
Oh.
That's great that you hear Alon. Thank you. And I run White Smoke. White Smoke is the first all-in-one solution for writing better. And also I'm a talker, so you're going to have to cut me off because I can speak for 24 hours about this amazing solution. And the way White Smoke, a small Israeli company, grew to millions of users and many millions of dollars in revenues. Our business model is search-based, but also subscriptions. We see ourselves as a service. We have many contracts and many agreements with leading providers in the industry. And I'm happy to be here because I'm seeing so many of my friends in my industry. And I think this particular subject, monetization, is an amazing subject to speak about. So thank you.
Thank you. Tal.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tal Schwartz. I'm a co-founder and CEO of ClickTail. ClickTail is a customer experience analytics company, which means we help you understand what your visitors and customers are doing on your website. We work like any other web analytics company. You put a little bit of JavaScript on the pages you'd like to record, and then you get playbacks of the actual visitor sessions. So you get to see where they move their mouse, what they click on, how they scroll, their entire behavior. And you see that in the form of an individual movie of an actual visitor to your site, as well as different types of aggregations like heat maps and other types of reports like funnels and form analytics. At the end of the day, we help you find out what's working and what's not working on your website so that you can maximize your conversion rate and usability. That's what we do.
So you sell subscription, right?
It's a SaaS business. It's a subscription model, founded in 2006. Sold initially to the long tail. Now we sell enterprise and SMB. And we're 55 people in Ramat Gan, looking to hire 20 more. So if you're looking for a job, come talk to me. Yeah. And it's going great, profitable for over 2 years.
I must admit that like I met you probably 5 years ago. We were at the Vardi conference. You had a lecture. There were 3 people in the room. I was one of them. And you showed me a presentation, like you showed me your first product where you create movies of your visitors and how, like what do they do and their mouse and their clicks and how do they open each Dropbox and everything. And I told you, wow, but how can I watch a movie for every single user that I'm having? That's like, I was at Jaded at the time with Hagai, and I said, I don't have time to watch a movie of all of my customers. Like, make me a movie of all the movies. And I think that I invented Clicktail at the moment, but I don't expect any revenues from this, but the heat map, I think I deserve something. Anyway, Totango will...
yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Guy Neopaz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Totango. We are the youngest company in this forum. We're a year and a little bit above that. We do not have a steady business model yet. However, what Totango does is we analyze user actions on web applications, specifically SaaS, identify engagement and intentions of users and customers, and provide this information into the customer-facing teams, which are sales, customer success, product, so they can engage with their customers in a much smarter way, get much better business results.
You know, each time you give a CEO to explain about his company, you understand nothing. Like, they actually track and monitor events that happens on your site with your clientele, and they can tell you what's happening like behind the hood, what's really happening with your customers, and they like a Röntgen of your inner system, and they can detect movement that we site owners don't see on a daily basis. So they're a new company. They represent like the new startups here. All of them are pretty mature companies, yeah, more or less. So we brought him as a last-minute guest, so he's not on your agenda, but I've asked him to join us because he has some beautiful insights mainly about retention, but nevertheless about trial periods and how to maximize trial offers and again converting customers. So let's cut to the chase. We don't have much time. I want each one of you to give me some of his best tips, practices for converting more customers, and I'm talking more about no-touch sales, okay, like the stuff that we can do online, the stuff that we can improve today and make the flow better, the process better, and will eventually bring us more money. So let's start with you again.
Okay, converting better. So I'll start from the beginning as a company. I won't talk too much, but when we started on a freemium basis. And our product, we knew from the beginning, is not aimed for the lower B2B companies, but it's more higher end. So we decided, okay, let's put a website that looks more respectable and everything. And the registration was not on the homepage, which meant that you had a funnel to go through in order to get to the registration. The reason for that is if you put a registration on your homepage, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look respectable. And then you had to have 2 clicks in order to get into the real funnel in order to register with us. It was a free service. The minute we changed it and we put on our homepage the ability to register with us, which had only very few fields, that converted a much better conversion for us, and I'm talking about huge amounts of much more conversions. But the way we did it was still respectable, still the ability to understand this is a product that it's not something which is lower end, but we were able to convert very well from that. One of the first things that we did also in the beginning, and I think the first day that we launched out there, we had a very big discussion. It was about 4.5 years ago. We decided that from the development team decided that we need to have a CAPTCHA on the registration. I can tell you that 25 minutes after we launched, that was changed.
Lucky for you that...
So if you think you need a CAPTCHA on your registration, think twice.
I think that you've optimized the plan picker page and even the wording that sends traffic to your plan picker page are selected carefully, right? I think that you use the terms see plans and pricing. Like they don't aggressively send you to buy, and this is something that they have checked. Because when you send someone and you give a big button that says buy now, most people don't like to buy now. Most people like to see plans and pricing and get along with the sale. And I think they're showing if you want to see a very good example of a service sales funnel, you should check out Compile's one. They have a very gentle, but I think a nice converting one. And I wanted to ask you about, you give trials, by the way, you give trials without collecting the credit card information. And, you know, I'm a credit card company, so I'm actually furious about it. But do tell me, why do you do that? Why do you choose not to collect credit card information for your free trials?
Okay, the first thing, with regards to the point you spoke about before, whenever you guys learn, first thing we learned from all the different players out there. We looked very carefully into all the different players. And when you learn from the different players, the first thing that you need to ask yourself, what is this company selling? What go-to-market are they in? And who are their players that come in and buy there? Because that very much differentiates how our website looks. I can tell you that today, since we're selling into both SMB and enterprise, our website changed very dramatically because of that. We cannot do quite a lot of things that we were able to do before. With
Give us the figures. Give us the figures.
I'm not talking about the figures.
No, I want to talk about the figures. I want to talk, why did you choose a funnel that gives you a free trial without a credit card? So, did it work better than collecting the credit card? Let's talk business.
Yes. No, yeah, the business is yes. The answer is yes, it very much worked well for us, but it doesn't really matter that for you guys. At the end of the day, why did it work for us? The reason it worked for us is that when you give a free trial in a system like ourselves, which is a system that you have to see the ROI. What we started with is feedback analytics. Feedback analytics is a system that is very hard to see the ROI on the first day. In order to see it, it took time. So we had to have the initial penetration. What we saw when we started, we had also if you remember, also the credit card in the beginning. People were registering, but were hesitant about putting their credit card in the beginning. And we saw quite a lot of other companies that did put also the credit card for those 15-day trials. Just put your credit card. We're not going to charge you. Only after 15 days we're going to charge you. And it was very successful for the other companies. For us, it didn't work very well.
Good. Let's move on, because we have to move on.
No problem.
I think the bottom line of conversion starts with data. I mean, the thing I'm surprised to find out in a lot of companies we're dealing with is running after these little tips and tricks and things that are common knowledge that need to be done before they know anything about themselves and about their users. So basically, at least the thing that we at Babylon, what we are doing, and I think investing most of our time the last like 4 years or so, is knowing more about every step and every user as much as we can, and all the rest fall in place later on. I mean, to say if it needs to be blue or red, to go for a monthly subscription as opposed to a perpetual license, all of that can be learned by knowing more and more about your users, especially when they're coming in big volumes, large volumes. So first of all, I'm saying data. Second is A/B testing, another thing that, A/B, C, D, E testing, but you name it. I think that what we learn, and I'm sure most of you saw it already many times, is that there is no way for you to guess a step you're doing and its negative or positive effect, and if it's going to be a very quick win or something that is a waste of time. I can give you tens of examples of things that I, myself as a CEO, I was trying to force on my people to do, and found myself absolutely wrong. I think the only way to do that is by a very sophisticated...
Show us where were you wrong.
No, the best example I have, I think, is for this monthly subscription. You know, Babylon for ages used to charge perpetual. We had trial version and then perpetual. And we were dealing with adding more payment methods, and you asked before about credit cards. Just so you know, nobody carry credit card. I mean, here in this hall, everyone carry 3 credit cards in his pocket. In the other world, I think, I don't know, the penetration is probably single digit. Yeah. But our experience with the monthly subscription, for example, we were afraid that at the time that you move from perpetual license to monthly subscription, you're going to get such a dip. Yeah, you improve your conversion, blah, 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 but you're publicly traded, you need to show performance, and it can take you 8 months or a year to even start to see the mistake you did or maybe the great thing you did.
And what happened?
And what happened, we ran an A/B testing, and what we saw in the different formulas of how to present it is that adding monthly subscription alternative to the store made more sales of the perpetual. And on top of that, we got some monthly subscription people.
Why? Because they
evaluate
because they evaluate the lifetime of the product. They see that they need to pay $20 per month or $100 for life.
You give them a comparison. I mean, I don't know how you call in English the לא רציונלי ולא במקרה, the book. But I strongly recommend you to go read that. But when you buy something, you need a reference.
Okay.
And when you buy something for $100, what do you compare it to? But then somebody is showing you that the same stuff you can buy for $10 a month. So one will say, hey, $100, I'm sure going to use it for more than 10 months, so I'll go for it. So the conversion, so the question, how much will it negatively affect the perpetual, came with a result that not only it didn't negatively affect, it positively affected it.
I think that there are many companies, maybe in the crowd, maybe in Israel, that are contemplating how to shift from one-time purchases to a recurring model, and I think your example could be inspiring for them. So let's move on to Ilah. I'll surely ask you about it again.
Thank you. Really, I think White Smoke is an excellent example of looking into conversions, because White Smoke started its way in selling a product online just by normal channels. We did a lot of PPC, we did a lot of media, and we sold the software, perpetual license of the software. We hardly had any free trials. We believed in building the business this way. And only when we made the decision to actually go into the freemium model and actually give the users the ability to test our software, only then did we face the real question, which was conversion. So the question of conversion for us was a question of existence and understanding. And I very much relate to what Alon is saying about understanding the user, because I think this is where the key is, understanding where the user, what are the things that makes the user really buy your software. And then follow it up with a price and with a landing page, with a procedure and a funnel that really suits it. So I'll give just my own examples that for a very long time, I thought the pricing of White Smoke was too high. As a CEO, I believed in the product. I still think it's one of the best products that are out there.
What was the price at the time?
I thought it was $79.
Okay.
And I really pushed to make this more of a mass market product, and I pushed the price down. And my people were saying no, and I was pushing it more, and I was pushing it more. When we started A/B testing, which is also a very important tool that I recommend to everybody because I think this is the bread and butter of conversion, we realized the low prices actually didn't improve the conversions. They did the opposite. So when we started testing who the user was and creating focus groups and speaking to our users and understanding why they bought it, we decided to price the tool even at a higher price point. The reason being that the people that were buying it were mostly professional. They were buying it because they felt this would give them an edge and a solution that would give them a higher salary. They would be less embarrassed in their writing. By the way, if anyone here didn't download Whitesmoke, of course, they have to understand.
I'll give you free download links later on.
Free download. And so I can say today that conversion is a matter of product, but it's also a matter of understanding. And of course, my biggest tip to this conversion and to any company, and I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs here that I've known for a long time, is to get a good team, a good, dedicated, and experienced team, because you can decide anything you want, but the market can tell you differently. So that's my tip.
So you're saying that not only you priced your product higher than it was, you actually converted more. Not in terms of dollars, but also in terms of units?
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. See
yes.
how people grasp and
grasp
evaluate your product just by looking at its price, and it's
yes.
important to understand that.
Yes.
Tal, you're the Rentgen of the checkout, so beside your own service, tell us what you learned from other customers also.
Yeah, so we have thousands of customers, all different types of industries, and there's some you can say patterns.
Closer to the mic.
Oh, closer. There's some patterns that seem to that repeat across many different industries that we've seen. So I'll give you a few points. I'll start with keep it simple, stupid. You know that KISS basically means when you watch visitor sessions and you see the way visitors actually behave on your site, you realize that they don't really do what you think they do. It's quite surprising for website owners to realize that after they produce all this tons of content and all these pages of lots and lots of information, no one really reads it. They tend to skim down and look through it very quickly. What you find is the most effective converting pages are the simplest ones. The ones where there's very little words, very few words, because people are lazy, they don't want to read. You don't notice it, but they don't want to read. If it's in 2 words rather than 3, it's better, as long as it explains your message. If you can do it visually with an image and icon, that's much better. If you can simplify it, so instead of having 3 calls to action, you have 1, much better. The more you can simplify, the more you can sharpen and have more clarity into the goal of every given page, the better off you are. Because the fewer choices, the better. Okay? Every time you give your user more choices, you're reducing your click-through rates, you're causing them to think, you're causing them to hesitate. Okay? You want to get rid of that. We've learned on our own website, for example, at some point we had 6 different pricing plans. We even had more than that at some point. And the more we had, the worse the situation got. The moment we took them off and reduced it and synthesized it to the bare minimum, that improved conversion rate. Okay? Now you have a lot of power when you set up your plans or whatever it is you're pricing, because essentially you get to set the price, you get to set the features, you get to set how it looks and everything. So you can play, you can call it psychological games with your customers that are, let's just say, are good for them and also good for you. Because like you said before, someone doesn't have a benchmark in terms of what your product is really worth, usually, especially in our world, in the SaaS business. So if you can set it up so that it looks like an annual subscription is really a good deal because the monthly is more expensive, guess what? You'll get more annual subscriptions. If you set it up so that your middle plan is quite good, almost as good as your most expensive plan, say if you had 3 plans, but is missing just a few things which are not that important, guess what? A lot of people will look at them and say, wow, that middle plan is a really good deal. I'm going to buy that one. If you didn't do it that way, guess what? They might only buy the cheap one. So you can do a lot of things in terms of setting up your pricing, setting up your features, setting up the way you talk about things to maximize your conversion rate. A lot of things. And of course, there's a lot of mistakes that you find that many, many websites make. I mean, we have lots of funny mistakes. I mean, the first thing you see is that people tend to click on pictures, no matter what picture it is, no matter what image. And usually, a lot of times, those images are not links, and they're not. People just click and they think it's something different than what you thought it was. So people make those type of mistakes. People.
So should we have links on photos or not?
Yeah, you should. You should have some action that is whatever. If you have an image and people need to.
Checking out.
Oh yeah, exactly. Take them someplace where they would expect to go. Absolutely.
So what's the myth about like putting your button under the fold? Is it
Oh,
really?
it's absolutely the worst
Like
thing
above
you can
the
do.
fold, is
Above, you have to do it above the fold. We've had many customers that we've seen where gambling websites, travel websites, where just moving the button a few hundred pixels up boosted conversion rates tremendously. Just moving it a few hundred pixels up, now it's visible on almost all screen sizes. We have a report called scrolling heat map.
So
you
it's
can
not
see-
a myth.
It's not a myth at all. It's not a myth.
Okay.
It's a true thing. It's a true thing. You have to put your button visible above the fold.
And the color. What color should we use? Like, is orange converting better than red? No, I want to know.
We use orange, but I have to say we haven't tested all the colors because a lot of this also has to do with the brand of the website. So it has to do with some branding and other things, not just pure conversion. Now, one thing that's important is long pages. If you have pages that are converting, make sure that like forms and things like that, make sure they're short, make sure you minimize, again, you don't want to make people think, minimize the minimum number of fields, make sure you put a lot of language there, assuring customers that, refund policies, things of that nature. You want to make it a no-brainer. Basically, think about your grandma who can barely, browse the web coming there. She'll have an easy time filling out the form and hitting that button, okay? I want to make it super, super easy, okay?
Point well taken.
Okay.
Okay.
I have more, but maybe later.
Well understood. I think we understood.
Let me build, in a sentence, my credibility. Why you invited me here? Because I guess although we do not sell currently, we have more than 50 clients who are SaaS companies with recurring revenue, and we see their information.
Can I ask you to be specific about trials? Because since you...
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about trials. So one of the things that I believe is very important and was a little bit, was not emphasized enough is that within trial, there's a period of time where people actual people actually evaluating the value they're getting from a service. So it's not just about the payment page or the sign-up page. This is very important to get them into the trial or later on to convert, but it's how the value is being perceived by potential customers during the trial period. And what we've learned, and let me share with you an anecdote, is that we've seen with one of our clients is that their average conversion rate, which means between a trial start and trial conversion, people who actually, or businesses who are actually buying a recurring revenue subscription of a trial, the average was less than 5%. And within those, the population of people who actually evaluated the service or businesses, we found several segments who natively converted in more than 10%. One of them was around 50%.
I lost you in the numbers. Can you give me the numbers again?
The number is the total...
I'm giving trials. I'm a B2B service. I'm giving trials to my people. How much do I convert?
Okay, so this is a very good question, but it really depends on your business. But what I'm trying to say is, I'll give you the numbers when I'm...
we're Israelis. Don't tell us stories.
5, 12, and 28.
What?
Okay. These are the numbers, right?
No.
Okay, so let's be just a little bit serious. The average conversion, a good company in trial converts, good company converts at a range of 5%, more or less. B2B subscription, depending on the pricing, obviously, and so forth.
How do you compile and ClickTel regarding those numbers? Are you doing better?
I guess they're not going to share this with us.
Okay, I'll ask you later on.
At this point, however, what we learned that the average doesn't tell the entire story, right? You want to, like previously said, there are people with intention to buy, and some people are coming to buy and are actively evaluating your service and other services at the same time. And if they're getting the value we're coming from, they have a business problem they want to solve with the service, they will purchase. You will need to make this as easy as possible and remove the obstacles of their way so they can evaluate the service and eventually buy. This population, what we call natively converting. If they're getting what they're looking for, they're converting natively at a rate of above 20%, which is extremely high. You can also find people who are actively evaluating. Not all people who are signing up for a trial are really evaluating the service. They're seeing a button, they're clicking that, and they're looking at nice screens. However, you do care about the people who are actively coming to try your service. And if you identify this population, this segment, you can orient your salespeople or marketing campaign and so forth directly to this segment, and you will ensure higher results. So it's not just about optimizing the landing pages, it's also making sure that you identify the right people who came for the right reasons, and you approach them in a way that makes them eventually buy the service you're selling.
So what you're saying is that try to identify the users that most likely will buy. You're not improving the conversion, but you're actually focusing your sales people to focus on the people that will truly convert.
The end result is dramatic increase in conversion, because if, for example, and this is what we've tested, if the contact rate, either by email or by telesales, with those potential buyers is increased, even those converting segments, their conversion number increases even further, which impacts the overall conversion rate of the business. So, it's just focusing on the right people, making sure they're getting what they're looking for, and you're increasing your business. In addition to optimizing the technical aspects of how you build the funnel and so forth, it's also, remembering that at the end of the day, people come to buy a real service. Real people come to buy real service, making sure that we match the service to the people, and we increase the trial conversion.
Thanks. So you don't have to answer like all of you about it, just the ones that have something to say about it. Say I'm a new service and I'm contemplating whether to offer a freemium model, like a free version all the way, or a free trial, meaning I'll address my people to a free trial, and after it, that's it. You're either paying or going. So, tell me how to pick the right funnel if I'm a new startup and I want to choose between giving a free trial or giving a whole freemium model. Do you have something to say about it?
Okay, I'll start. It really depends. First thing, you have to understand this is just a marketing tool. Just a marketing tool. The main thing is how you use it. And first internally, and can you really support it in each and every one of these two different marketing tools. The first one, I really don't like it many times in Israeli companies. They like to take it for the easy part of giving it for free. Use it. And then afterwards only thinking at the end, okay, how are we going to do money out of this? And as a good Jew, I like to make money, so which means I don't like to give things for free.
So you don't offer, a free version? There's no free version?
In the beginning, we gave everything for free, and there was a good reason for that. Two things. One, we wanted to expose ourselves out there because nobody really knew who we are, what we're doing, and our field was not very well known. So we had to pay the price of teaching the public what it is, and it's not fun. The second part of it is SaaS. SaaS is built on data. And as Alon said here, data is worth a lot of money. And for us, what that enabled us was to, about 9 months altogether, we gave our service for free. We told our users from the beginning that it's going to cost money, but we did it a very easy, fun, and basic use of the system. What it enabled us to do is to understand from our customers, what are they looking for, what are they going to be willing to pay for. And when we started with the payment service, we didn't launch out there a payment service. Very much because I believe that you need to understand your customers and talk to them. And very different from B2C, in B2B we have that privilege of really talking to each and every one of them and understanding them. And what I did before we launched our numbers out there, the different packages that you see on our website or everything, I spoke to about 150 of our customers. I didn't just pick up the phone. I had an internal system, very similar to what the guy was talking about, that I knew each and every one of them. What are they doing? What are they using on our system? What do they like? What they do not like? Where they're missing? And when we spoke to them, I didn't just talk to them about, okay, would you be willing paying us $100? I told them, this is our price. This is what's included in it. And I heard the reaction. I saw exactly what is the right price for us, what are the different things that our customers are looking for to pay in that kind of a price. And only after we did that learning and after we sold those initial deals, then we launched out there our numbers, and it very much assisted us. So in our case, taking the freemium model really assisted us. But from day one, we knew that this is a model that we have to pay a price, and we did pay a price from the beginning till that point that we launched our pricing page there. But we also knew that we're going to take the money at the end of the day.
Perfect. Long story short, start with freemium, move on to be aggressive as you grow, right? Can I say that?
That is the right one. Again, if it's right for your company, I don't suggest it to every company. And freemium, a lot of times, if you're trying to run away from taking money from your customers, then you don't really believe in your product. Or there's another possibility that you don't know how to make money, but you do know how to bring users. And if your system is more on traction, and what you know to do is to bring traction, and several companies like that were sold in Israel in the past year, were very much focused on traction. They didn't care about the money.
I'll ask you about traction in a minute. Okay, if someone has something to say about trials and free trials and freemium.
Sure.
There's one very important thing that I want to say about free trials. For us at White Smoke, it changed our world. Because we always believed in our product, and we saw that a lot of education companies believe in our product, and students are buying our products, and professionals, and lawyers, and doctors. But the moment we put it out there as a free trial, which is a very, very difficult step for a small company with not enough resources, it changed our world because people could really taste it and understand how important it is. And we could grow to mass distribution of millions of users. And only then could we work on the conversion and actually bring revenues. So for us, this was a life-changing experience, and I would recommend those tests.
So you started the opposite, right? You started by charging, and then you opened the free trials.
Yeah, we didn't want to give it away. We didn't want anyone to test it. You couldn't find a free trial of White Smoke anywhere. But when we did this and we kind of went with the flow and we saw what was happening around us and we understood that the more people that we marketed to, the more people like it, the more they want to convert, the more subscriptions we have, that's when our world changed. So it's my
How did it work for you, Alon?
Yeah, I think on a nutshell I would say that B2B is trial and B2C is freemium. And the logic is payment methods. I mean, B2B have no payment method issue. They either want to buy it or they do not want, but they always can buy it if they choose to. Consumer market, most of the people, whether they want to buy or not, the main bottleneck is payment method. Nobody most of the world is still not equal rights citizen of the World Wide Web, unfortunately. So going to Rwanda, Kenya, Thailand, Vietnam, it's not a matter of the price, it's not a matter of the service, it's a matter of not being able to participate. And therefore, freemium is the answer. Now, obviously, you cannot go freemium if your business model is not based on both legs in a stabilized way. One is a subscription model, and the other one is some other monetization. Can be advertisement, can be third thing.
I hope I have time to talk about it. How much time do I have? Producers? Anyway. אחר כך תגידו לי כמה זמן יש לי. You wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in a freemium model. When we launched ClickTail, it was freemium. It's still freemium. I think that if you're a startup and you have a product and no one knows you, freemium is a great way to get the word out, to have people try the product, write about it. You get a lot of free marketing. Now you can do it in a smart way. You can actually create a free product that has a subset of the features, gives people a taste of what you're offering. Like at ClickTail, what we did is a lot of people didn't really believe that what we could offer actually works because it seemed like magic. It still does to some people, that you can actually show them this level of information. So by actually making it free, it allowed a lot of people to try it, see that it works, and then they would upgrade to the paid subscription and get more recordings and more features and so on. Even today, it's a lead gen it's amazing, but I have Fortune 500 companies who come to us who start as a free trial, and then we notice, wow, that company is actually on a free trial. It's crazy. And then, of course, the salespeople contact them, and then we upgrade them and we sell them and they pay a lot of money, but they started as free. So for us, it still works today. and we're big advocates for it. And I think as a startup, it's the smartest thing you can do to be able to get the word out.
So he's a freemium and he's a B2B. So he's a long tail B2B, okay? Like in terms of his businesses are many businesses, right? Like maybe the distinction between B2B and B2C is not that clear when it comes to services like him. So I think I don't have much time. I do wanted to ask you about, again, I'm a new service. I'm going out there. I want to monetize my service, and I'm debating whether to go to a search-based monetization or direct sales. Where do you see yourself like in a year or two, and what would you advise others? I'm talking about Alon and Hila. You guys can add your note, but you guys are in it.
I think we must be in both places. We must invest heavily in both places. I think having a third one is even more important than the question whether continuing with a subscription or search or both. Okay. I think having a third alternative is even more important than this debate. I think that we are all in the same market. Our competitors are not translation or dictionary companies. Our competitors are everyone that is trying to get attention on the internet. And your competitive edge, when you come to a specific user and to a specific country, and you can make a little bit more out of him because you have a good mix of search and sales, then you can afford paying this little something more, then the market is yours.
But do you see a trend? Do you see a trend? Is it all the same? Is it the same as it was? What's happening like behind the scenes? To search, like we hear lots of stuff, right?
Okay, I can, looking on our numbers, you look on our sales revenues, they are growing between 20 to 40% year over year since years. I think 4, 5, 6 years in a row.
And both
the search that came over is more than doubling itself year over year, and this year is going to be 65% revenues from search and 35% from subscription. Okay. But when you take the mix, I don't think there is one can stay for a long term without the other. When going after tons of users in Turkey, in Brazil, in Thailand, knowing initially that you are going only after search revenue, or knowing initially you are going only after trying to sell him some piece of software, you are much less competitive than the one that can have the right mix. So you have kids in Thailand will enjoy it for free, businesses in Thailand will pay for it, and some others will find some crack and hack, and that's another marketing tool that we can spend a long session about marketing hacks and cracks.
We have 5 minutes, so it's all yours.
Of course,
give me 2 to summarize.
Thank you. I'll summarize for everyone. So let me just say that I don't see exactly eye to eye with Alon on this, because I do believe, even though there is a mixture, search is a means to get penetration and to get sales. And the third leg that Alon was probably talking about is probably OEM and enterprise and growth engines that White Smoke is trying very hard to establish and has established in the last year or so. But I see a lot of companies that kind of have that dilemma between monetizing in all different ways, not only search. And I think it's only a means to get sales, subscriptions, and advertising in the world, because advertising online is very expensive. And we don't see such success stories anymore about small companies that grew from nothing and invested a lot of money. And we don't see that much anymore, because in order to be a small startup and start a company, you need a lot of money. And then you go out and raise money, and you do that in all possible ways, some from angel investors, some from VCs, some public money, but you need the money to do it. And search and other monetization revenues that we're probably speaking about, like toolbars and coupons and 1,000 other things, are just a way to get you out there and, of course, make money, but also to get the word out there for you. And this is what at least White Smoke is trying to do. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you. So let's make money, everyone, right?
I made it. I thought I wouldn't,
Right.
but I made it. Thank you, guys. Guy, Tal, Hila, Alon, Ariel, you, except for admiring your business, you truly shared your tips with us, and we're grateful for that. And each one that wants to meet those guys afterwards is more than willing. They are more than willing to share their knowledge on other occasions. I'll dismiss you. You can go. I'm staying here. You can go.
Thank you a lot.